So, welcome to Ready for the Weekend episode 13, the show where myself and Kev run through our predictions and preview the weekend's must-see sporting action. Coming up on this week's show, we have action from MMA, cricket, rugby, bare-knuckle boxing, and basketball. We hope you enjoy. Okay, so up first this week, we have the much-anticipated return of TJ Dillashaw to the UFC. He's coming off the back of a 2-year drugs ban, following his loss to Henry Cejudo for the flyweight title when he went to become the whole champ thing, which resulted in him getting stripped of his bantamweight title, and this is his return fight against Cory Sandhagen. Sandhagen on a 2-fight win streak since his loss to current champ Aljamain Sterling, beating Frankie Edgar and Marlon Moraes. So this is very much a sort of number one contender fight to see who will get to fight the eventual winner of Sterling versus Jan in their rematch. This was supposed to happen like a couple of months ago, but TJ pulled out from a cut from sparring, so again, set back a couple of months, making that wait even longer. Again, I sort of like the way Chael Sonnen summarised this, where he's like, this is not a fight that's going to be remotely close. If Sandhagen gets taken down, TJ's just going to absolutely beat him on the floor. But because of the sizable reach and height advantage, if Sandhagen can keep to the short range, he's just not going to be able to do anything to him. He's got that huge 5'11" frame for bantamweight that just towers over guys at this weight class. But we really have no idea what sort of nick Dillashaw is going to come back in. I mean, that is a 2-year layoff that he may have been training week in, week out. He may not have been. He went out as an elite level fighter, but is he going to return as one? And for that reason, I think I'm going to take Sandhagen here. There was the rumours that these two used to spar with each other back like years ago in Colorado, and that they were separated because Sandhagen used to whoop him in training. So I'm going to sort of follow these rumours and lean a little conservative here and say that the 2-year layoff is going to take its toll on TJ. So I'm going to take Sandhagen here, and with his record of putting guys away, and only, I think, once, maybe twice, 2 of his 8 fights in the UFC have gone the distance, I think he's going to put Dillashaw away inside 5 here.
In the UFC, we have TJ versus Cory. TJ come back after 2 years with his failed drug test back in 2019. Let's see, has he changed or not since those 2 years? Still, from last time we'd seen him, very good wrestler and very heavy punches. Cory is very creative with his strikes, but said himself he's not good at wrestling. Unlike the other UFCs that we've went for predictions, this will not be a close fight. We think that TJ will actually destroy Cory, so I would believe it's going to be a knockout for him.
Alright, second up this week, we are going over to the 100, a tournament that I really have no interest in. I'm yet to actually watch a game. I'll probably catch this one over the weekend, but it's just a tournament that I have no real interest in because it's dumb. Like, gambling the entire future of your sporting organisation on a franchise tournament that no one wanted, and, people have watched the opening couple of games. It broke viewership records in the UK for the year. But, the idea of just hammering all of these counties into like franchise teams and scattering players all over the place and players dropping out left, right and centre, and it's just infuriating. And that's before you get to the event experience and the TV product, where the TV graphics take up like a quarter of the screen and you can barely tell what's going on. Needless rule changes, it's only 20 balls in innings shorter than a T20 game anyway. But hey, it's here. So we're covering the Trent Rockets against the Southern Brave. Opening up with the Trent Rockets, star players, you got Lewis Gregory, Joe Root, David Milan, Rashid Khan. So you've got the number 1 batsman and the number 2 ranked bowler in T20 cricket, coached by former England coach Andy Flower. They look very batting heavy. They've also got like Alex Hales, Luke Wright, so they've got guys that can hammer the ball to all areas of the ground. The Southern Brave, on the other hand, have considerably less batting depth. They've got Quinton de Kock, they've got Conway, they've got Davis, they've got Vince. They've got good players. I think they're much stronger in the bowling department. I know they're without Jofra through injury, but they've got like Liam Dawson, Danny Briggs, Craig Overton, like staple, high quality county players that are going to be useful. But look, this is a tournament designed to just hammer the ball out of the ground as far as possible. So for that reason, I'm going to take the Trent Rockets here, and I think it's going to be a fairly sizable win. Yeah, the 100. It's a thing.
We have Trent Rockets and Southern Brave in this new cricket tournament that seems everybody hates. Apparently, it seems like this tournament might not last very long. However, there's some big names in these two teams, especially Trent Rockets. They have their current English captain and one few batsmen that are very, very good. They lack some bowlers, unlike Southern Brave. I may go for the Trent Rockets for this one, as I've seen that majority of the players are actually pretty decent, so I would probably go for a win for them.
Alright, so third up this week, we are returning to the Lions Tour of South Africa. We've sort of gradually ignored it as the tour games were going on. We covered their first game in South Africa, we covered their first warm-up game against Japan. We sort of thought we'd leave it now until the actual tour proper. First game of a 3-match series between the two sides. Lions won all bar one of their warm-up games, which was a loss to South Africa A, which did include a number of South Africa internationals and World Cup winners, so South Africa A+. A big boost for the Lions as Alan Wynne-Jones returns. Somehow the guy has managed to recover from a dislocated shoulder in 4 weeks, so impressive. Lions named 3 of the Irish lads in the starting lineup. We got Robbie Henshaw, Jack Conan and Tyke Furlong all making their starts. South Africa entered the series still ranked at number 1 in the world off the back of their World Cup win, and you've got to favour them here. Home conditions, they know each other. Lions, yes, they've had like 5 or 6 warm-up games to get to gel, but you've got to back the home side if they're ranked number 1, haven't you? South Africa have only played once this year, which was a hammering of Georgia at the start of July. So yes, they're coming a little rusty, but a lot of them did play in that South Africa A game. I'm taking South Africa here, and I think they'll beat them by about 10 points.
In rugby next, we have Lions versus South Africa in their first proper game in the series. Against South Africa, who are current world champions and number 1. However, the Lions have some great players come back, especially their captain. Despite dislocating his shoulder, he's still going to return. A fair play to him. We've got a few Irish players, including Tyke Furlong on the team. It's going to be very close, but I'll probably go for South Africa because they have bet them in a warm-up game. Let's see, will they actually do it again? Which I probably think they will. But I think it'll be very close. I think it'll be like a 3-point game. So we'll see how it goes.
Alright, so our 4th game / fight of the weekend. As soon as I mentioned this to Kev, there was just no way we weren't covering it. We are looking at bare knuckle boxing in Bare Knuckle Fight Club 9 for their main event, Paige VanZant and Racheal Ostovich, in a fight that everyone has sort of been talking about, but very little about the actual who's going to win of the fight, and more just, hey, that's happening. They both fought each other in the UFC, and Paige won fairly comfortably with an armbar in round 2. They've both since left, and as soon as Ostovich got released from her UFC contract with Paige already at BKFC, everyone sort of presumed this was happening. Paige, 27, 5'4", 2.9 million Instagram followers. Ostovich, 3 years older, 1 inch shorter, and with a considerably lower Instagram following. Numbers, metrics, stuff. Both had mixed to unsuccessful runs in the UFC. Paige very often hyped up, high up on the card, but didn't quite work out. Finished up her MMA career with the UFC with an 8-5 record, but lost her bare knuckle fighting debut. Got released after her Amanda Hebus loss in July of last year, then quickly signed with BKFC, losing her debut to Britain Hart, who's also on this card. Ostovich, 4-6 MMA record, joined the UFC very, very early in her career, probably too early. First bare knuckle boxing fight, she's totally new to this. Apparently wasn't even considering it until she got offered a sizable payday to jump over and fight Paige. She was on a 3-fight losing streak when she left, hasn't fought at all since. I'm leaning Paige here. You know, she had the win in the UFC, but that was with a submission. It means totally nothing here. but I just think she looked, over the course of her career, the more complete fighter, and I think she's kind of got this in the bag here. It's the equivalent of like the Logan Paul fights and that Anderson Silva boxing fight from a while ago. It's a it's a novelty fight where they brought in something they know will sell. I don't think it'll be overly competitive, and I think Paige will win this by stoppage fairly comfortably.
Next we have Paige versus Racheal. Just like TJ and Cory, I'm not going to attempt their surnames. It looks very difficult for me to pronounce. Back to the fight. Two fighters who are left the UFC. They both fought in the UFC back in 2019, with Paige coming out victorious. They haven't been doing very well. They lost their last games before exiting the UFC to bare knuckle fight. Hopefully, we'll try something different. Unfortunately, Paige has fought in bare knuckle fight and unfortunately lost her fight. Hopefully, she might redeem herself against Racheal, this is her first bare knuckle fight. I think that Paige might come out a little bit victorious in this one again. Despite the fact that actually she bet Racheal in the UFC, maybe she might do it again in the bare knuckle fight. We'll see how it goes, but I don't think it will be a major win. I think it might be just a decision at the end.
Okay, we are wrapping up this week with the first of our coverage on the Olympics as we look at the USA versus France in the basketball. The opening game of Group A, which also consists of Iran and the Czech Republic. The States are the clear favourites here. Roster full of top tier NBA talent and a top NBA coach in Greg Popovich at the Spurs. Roster has two of the championship winners in Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton from the Bucks, as well as stars like Durant, Lillard, Levine, Adebayo, Jason Tatum, and you know they're just decked out in gold. The US Olympic team, in the past 7 Olympics, they've won 6 gold medals. I just can't look past them here. I mean, the French are a very solid team in their own right. 5 current NBA roster members: Gobert, Fournier, Batum, Luau Cabarro, and Ntilikina. I really should have given that to Kev to try and have a go at, because that probably would have gone even worse, but I think I got at least 2 of them right. Rest of the team, EuroLeague players. They finished 6th in the last 2 Olympics, but did get a bronze in the last World Cup. But overall, it's just a gimme for the States, or at least should be. I mean, with a team that's that stacked, this could just be an absolute hammering the right way through the tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and I think a lot of these guys could show out. It's just, are they going to gel? You would hope so, because they could put on an amazing performance right the way through this whole Olympic process. But I'm taking the USA here, and I think they're going to take it by like 15 to 20 points.
In the Olympics basketball, we have the USA versus France. With USA has a lot of talent, including Kevin Durant. France also have a lot of decent players from the NBA. USA has won the last few years in the Olympics with basketball, so I think I'll probably go for them again. I still think France will bring up a big fight for it, but I think USA will come out with a win here. I don't think it'll be that close either. Probably about, I would say, 20 points, to be honest, but we'll see how it goes.
Alright, so that wraps up episode 13 of Ready for the Weekend. Heading into this week, we tied last week and won ahead overall, 39 to 38. So let us know your predictions in the comments below, any stuff you want us to cover in the future, especially around Olympic season here. We're open to pretty much everything. Football will be back in a couple of months, but until then we really want to try and mix it up with as much different options as possible to keep it fresh before there's the inevitable football binge at the tail end of August, early September. But yeah, let us know what you think. Drop us a like, subscription, comment below. See you next time.